welcome. You're watching Ask BQ on Bloomberg Quint Live. I am Agam Akil, and this is the show where we address your stock queries. You can write to us on Twitter, Facebook, or just call us on 022-4540-4141, or you can email us on askbq@bloombergquint.com with all your financial queries, and we'll try to address them as many as possible on the show. Just remember to add the Ask BQ hashtag in the end. And let's get in two experts for the day. We have Sameet Chavan on Angel Broking, as well as Astha Jain of Securities here to bring you all and answer all the queries. But welcome to the show, guys. But before I get in on the queries, let's just take a quick look at how the markets are doing right now. And I want to start off with the benchmark indices. So as you can see on your screen, we are looking at marginal moves coming in with respect to the Nifty 50. Not too much has changed, and even when it comes to something like the Bank Nifty, we're looking at very little traction. It's been yet another day where action mostly has remained range bound with flattish moves. Again, with respect to turnovers, not much can be said because of the fact that we're looking at hardly any movements in the broader markets. And if you consider the advanced decline ratio too, well, that may depict a slightly different picture, considering we are looking at twice as many advances in comparison to declines. But on the whole, at least as far as the moves are concerned, the momentum is on the subdued end. Well, with that, let's get on straight to our queries. And the first one comes from Nitin Atri, who writes to us on Facebook. And he says he has 150 shares of IDBI Bank bought at 77 rupees and 100 shares of FACT bought at around 59 rupees, and he has a short-term view on both these. And well, he wants to know if he should continue to remain with the investment. So there you have it. Well, IDBI Bank at 77, that's his entry point. In fact, around 59. He's currently making a loss in both these counters. So I'm going to take each of them with both our experts. And let me just start off with IDBI Bank, because that has relatively more volumes coming in, and we can get a technical check going in there. So Sameet, your call on IDBI Bank, what's your view here?
See, as a short-term trader, I don't see any major trigger in this particular counter. Of late, we saw massive volatility in this counter. The stock first gave a decent rally from levels of 62 towards 88, 90, and immediately we saw a complete nosedive towards 62. Since last couple of weeks, this stock has been consolidating in range. So if this particular stock has to gain any kind of momentum, it has to first sustain beyond 76, 76.5. As a short-term trader, I would rather hold, since 68, 69 seems to be a very strong support. So one can place a stop loss below 68 on a closing basis and keep holding it. And once this stock surpasses 76, 77, we can expect decent appreciation towards 85, 86 levels.
Okay, so that's the view on IDBI Bank. Astha, taking the query of FACT with you, that is the fertilizer company. Our viewer has entered into that stock at around 59. It's currently trading at 52. I know that this is one of the beleaguered stocks which has had a lot of problems in the past. What would you advise Nitin to do with his position right now?
Talking about FACT, first of all, I want to make him aware that this company has posting losses. Basically, I should not say losses, but it's a degrowth which they have posted in their quarterly results of Q3 FY18. Therefore, this company is not able to perform better on the bourses. So I would suggest exit from the stock. On the contrary, he can buy Bharat Rasayan. If we talk about Bharat Rasayan, although this stock is, it's a high price stock, 4,600 right now it is quoting at. But as his view is short term, therefore I believe in the short term he can earn profits on this stock because the fundamentals are quite attractive in this company. If we talk about CAGR growth, basically CAGR growth is quite attractive. In the top line, 30% CAGR they have posted, and it's a 5-year CAGR I'm talking about. And this company is a consistent performer. I should say they have performed consecutively since FY11. So consecutive growth this company has been posting. We talk about the return ratios. Return ratios are quite attractive. More than 30% return ratios this company is posting. This company is into basically chemical, herbicides, fungicides, and this chemical is mainly used in the horticulture. And the kind of the demand which we are getting in this sector, so this company has ample opportunity to cater on. And with the emergence of organized sector more and more, demand is coming for this company, I would suggest go for Bharat Rasayan and exit from FACT right now.
Okay, so that's the the advice coming in. You should exit from FACT and enter Bharat Rasayan. That's the view as far as some of those counters go. But we'll move on to the next query, and that one comes from Ravindra Zinjurke, who writes to us on Facebook, and he says he has 100 shares of KRBL at 441, and he has a long-term view on KRBL. Let's take a look at where KRBL is currently trading at. Well, it's 466. So he is certainly sitting on a profit, but it wouldn't matter because he has a long-term view. Astha, I'm going to come back to you on this one. We've seen a lot of strength on KRBL in the recent past. What's your view here? Should the investor hold on to their investment if they have like a view of as much as 2.5 to 3 years?
Oh, sure. Because if we talk about KRBL, this company again is a very good performer on the fundamental side, especially on the financial side. This company has posted growth in their bottom line as well as top line, which is quite attractive. So I would suggest go with the KRBL and hold this stock for the 1 or 2 year perspective.
Okay, so you can hold on to your position KRBL. Moving on, we have Praveen Patel who writes to us on WhatsApp, and he has 200 shares of Group Finance bought at 505 and 100 shares of GNA Axles bought around 425 rupees per share, and he has a 2-year view. Praveen wants to know what he should do, so I'm going to take up Group Finance with Sameet and ask him his view on Group Finance. Is currently trading at around 600 rupees a share. Not too much to speak for, at least in today's day of trade, but considering the investor has a relatively longer term view, Sameet, can you help the investor out?
Certainly hold on. This stock has been one of the outperforming stocks, and since last 5 to 6 years, the stock has been enjoying its multi-year bull run. We don't see any major correction coming in, at least in the near term. The stock has already consolidated and formed a strong base around 520, 540, and since last 4 or 5 days, we have already seen a good positive traction in this counter. Looking at the volume activity, it has picked up substantially in last 1.5 months. So we believe that at least in next few months, the stock is clearly poised to retest its all-time highs, which are around 680, 700. So hold on to it. 540, 530 seems to be a near-term base.
All right, and I will take up GNA Axles, which has been spoken about quite substantially, at least over the past couple of days. Let's take a look at what GNA Axles is doing. Oh, okay, it's actually up as much as 7%, so it has picked up from early trade today. It's currently trading at around 489. Astha, if I can come to you on GNA Axles, we've been hearing quite a lot about this particular counter. What would you recommend Praveen should do with his position in this particular stock?
I would suggest him to hold the stock. Why? Because there are various reasons to hold the stock. First of all, 55% of huge growth which they have posted in the bottom line is very attractive. Secondly, the finance cost, this company's finance cost has reduced significantly. It has shown reduction of around 40% in their finance cost. So low debt company and good growth in the financials. Apart from that, this company is really expected to gain on account of the bounce back in the tractor sales, on account of the bounce back in the commercial vehicle cycle. So all factors are going positive for this company. He can definitely hold the stock, although he's gaining right now and he's sitting on huge profit. But still, I would recommend go with the stock and hold it for at least 1 year more.
All right, you can hold on to GNA Axles for at least 1 more year. And from there, we'll move on to an interesting stock which has gotten the traders' fancy over the past couple of days, and that's Tata Chemicals. We also have a query there coming in from Shivani Dhanuka, who writes to us on YouTube. And she says that she's bought shares of Tata Chemicals at about 718. And she wants to know what her price target should be on that stock. Now, she hasn't mentioned whether or not it's a long-term or a short-term view that she has, but, well, we've taken technical analysis of Tata Chemicals right now, currently trading at 713. Sameet, what do you make of the underlying variables as far as Tata Chemicals goes, and what can Shivani do with her position?
So this stock has certainly gained some momentum in last 4 to 5 days. It has given a sharp recovery from low levels of 660, 65, which coincide with 200-day moving average as well. it is now approaching its near-term hurdle, which is around 727, 728. So this is the level to watch out for. Once the stock surpasses this hurdle, we could see a decent move probably towards 745, 750. So as of now, hold on. You can keep a strict stop loss below yesterday's low, which is around 698.
Keep a strict stop loss of 698, but you can hold on to your position. That's the view coming in from Sameet on Tata Chemicals. Moving on to another query, which also comes to us on YouTube. This one is from Akash Randev, and he wants to invest in Diwan Housing Finance at current levels, and he wants to get an idea of whether or not this may be a good time or no. So Astha, coming down to your view on Diwan Housing, what do you make of the stock right now, and what would you recommend Akash should do?
Surely he can invest in the stock right now because 25% growth in the bottom line as well as low P stock. It's running at the P multiple of 5, which is quite attractive, or I should say very reasonable valuations right now. This stock is posting, so there is ample opportunity for the upside in the stock. Go ahead with the stock.
All right, so you can go ahead and put your money in Diwan Housing Finance. Along with Diwan Housing Finance, we've seen some amount of volatility in several other housing finance companies, but we'll move on to the next query then. This one comes from Facebook with Anshul Tyagi, who's bought about 1,750 shares of Jamna Auto at 59, and he has a 1 to 3 year view, and he wants to know if he should buy or sell. Jamna Auto, of course, currently trading at 87, so he's sitting at a good profit right now. There's no doubt about it. Astha, I think I'm going to come back to you on this one because this is a relatively longer-term view. Would you advise he hold on, or would you advise he book profits at least in half or a third of his quantity, or should he, completely exit his position in Jamna Auto?
See, it depends on his horizon. If he has a little long-term horizon, definitely he can hold the stock. Why? Because 50% growth in the bottom line, first of all. As usual, financials are quite attractive for this company. So why not hold the stock? Again, it is running near to its 52-week high and all-time high of 92. So again, there are good possibility if it breaks its all-time high, then again we can see the new levels coming for the stock. So definitely he can hold the stock if the horizon is longer, and if it is if he is a short-term investor, then definitely book some profit. At least 1/3 of the profit he can book. For the short-term horizon, I'm asking him to the book profit, but for the long-term, hold the stock.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Jamna Auto for at least 1/3. If you do have a short-term horizon, you can book some profits on, say, about 33% of your holdings. But maybe we'll move on to the next query then. And that one comes from Facebook. We have Ranjan Debnath, who's bought about 100 shares of Torrent Power at about 242 rupees a piece. And he wants to get a technical view on the stock. So let's get a chart check going. Sameet, what would you advise Ranjan do with his position on Torrent Power? His entry points at 242 is currently trading at 241.
See, in last couple of months, the stock has undergone some kind of correction, wherein 220, 230 acted as a very strong support, and since last 3-4 days, we are seeing some kind of respite. So if you look at the weekly chart, this recent correction can be construed as a pullback. So we would expect this relief rally to extend a bit towards say 250, 255 also. So in the near term, 250, 255, these are the levels to watch out for. So as a short term trader, I would book my profits if the stock reaches this important hurdles.
Okay, so 250, 255, those are the levels at which you could book profits, Ranjan. That's the view coming in. That's your technical check. Moving on to the next one, we have Devendra Jain, who writes to us on YouTube, and he's bought 500 shares of SRF at 2021 and 500 shares of Cholamandalam Finance at 1521. He has a short-term view. So, Sameet, I'm going to come back to you on this one. Let's address SRF first. At around 2021, that's his entry price. Well, he is looking at a marginal loss right now, considering SRF is trading at 2002. What do you think Devendra can do with his position right now, and what levels would you ask him to keep an eye on?
See, as a disclosure, we have been quite upbeat on this stock, and we have been advising this to our clients as well. We have a target of 2090, 2150 at least for the near term. So you can hold on. Now 1960, 1965 would act as a very strong support. So you can place stop loss below 1960 and hold on. Once the stock gives a close beyond previous high, which is around 2041, then we could see this stock heading toward 2100 or beyond that. So as of now, definitely hold on to it. 1960 is the level to watch out for.
Okay, and let's take a check on Cholamandalam Finance as well and see where that stock is trading at, because Devendra's entry point is around 1521. So once again, it's about 20 rupees below his entry point. Sameet, coming back to you on this one, what would you recommend Devendra do with his position on Cholamandalam Finance?
See, yesterday's price up move confirms a bullish flag pattern. The stock has broken out from its previous hurdles placed around 494 or 1490, 1495. Today we are seeing some kind of subdued movement of profit booking from higher levels. But at least in the near term, 1480 would act as a very strong support, and from here on, the stock has a potential to move towards 1580. So hold on to it. 1480, one can keep a stop loss on a closing basis.
All right, so that's the view on Cholamandalam Finance. Moving in, we have another query on Facebook, and this one comes from Aishwarya Agarwal. And she wants to get an idea on HEG and Graphite India. And this is a very curious one, because today both these counters are looking at a substantial decline. HEG is down by as much as over 9%, and Graphite India, if I'm not mistaken, is locked in a lower circuit. There you have it. It's locked in a lower circuit of 5%. So substantial weakness coming in both these counters. Astha, coming back to you on this one, what would you recommend Aishwarya would do with both these counters right now?
First of all, I want to take HEG. For HEG, I would recommend she can just exit from the stock, because this stock is not posting any kind of confidence on the basis of financial performance if we talk about this company. So she can exit from the stock. On the contrary, she can go with the Bhansali Engineers and Polymers Limited. This company is performing very strongly since last few days. Why? Because the fundamentals are quite attractive in this company. More than 100% growth they have posted in Q3 FY18. Apart from that, there is a capex plan of around 50 crores for this company, which is lined up till 31st December 2018. They are going to increase their plant capacity at Abu Road. So definitely going forward, the financials will we are expecting financials to show good growth going forward. Apart from that, on the debt front, this company, recently a news come for this company that they have paid all their outstanding dues, and the promoters has released their shares pledged, which is again very positive for this company and playing very good for this company. My target for this company is 220, 230 in the near future. So she can exit from the HEG and she can buy Bhansali Engineers. Talking about Graphite India, I should say hold the stock, because the fundamentals are quite...
Astha, just give us a moment, please, because I actually do want to, take the HEG graphite issue ahead, and we have Darshan joining us to give us more updates.
Yeah, so basically Ravi Jhunjhunwala of HEG joins us to give us a brief sense of what's exactly happening. If I see the counter, it's down almost 10% in trade. Good afternoon, Mr. Jhunjhunwala. I think the trigger that's come out on HEG currently is the fact that Nomura visited, some companies in China, and what their findings are that local companies have become more compliant with environmental norms. They say that proper measures have been taken by large companies to increase graphite electrode production and expand production of key needle coke. Is that a big concern, because prices have prices actually started coming down, and is this true of what's happening in China?
You see, I just clarified 5 minutes back to another channel. We are talking of two different kinds of products. What we and the Japanese and the Americans produce is what we call ultra-high power electrodes, which are typically required by very large, difficult furnaces. And China does 80-90% of non-UHP, which are meant for different kinds of furnaces, smaller furnaces, easier furnaces. So China has never been competing with us, or in other words, we have never been competing with China, so to say, because we are in totally two different kinds of products within the electrode space. So that's number one. Number two, China closed somewhere in the region of 200 to 300,000 tons of capacity in electrodes over the last 6 to 9 months. So even if one capacity has come back in operation, it's hardly going to make any difference. China has never been importing the ultra-high power electrodes from us or from the Western sources, and China will not import even in the future. So that's number one. Number two, as far as the pricing is concerned, our quarter-on-quarter numbers, our quarter-on-quarter sales realizations have been increasing. And as we speak, we are just preparing for our annual report in the next 3-4 weeks. And our sales realization in this quarter, the January-March quarter, is substantially higher than what it was in the previous one. And for the next 2 quarters at least, for which we are more or less fully booked up, our realizations are higher than what we've had in the, let's say, January-March. So that is my clarification. And again, to put it into perspective, China doesn't have the technology for what we call the ultra-high power electrodes. So what they closed in the past and what they may have been restarting a little bit here and there is all non-UHP electrodes. Okay. And again, because China has added more than 20-25 million tons of electric arc furnace in the last 6 to 9 months, which need more than 50,000 tons of electrodes. So out of 250 to 300,000 tons capacities, which they probably closed in the last 12 months, even if 10 or 20,000 tons of capacities are coming back on track, against an increase in demand of more than 50-60,000 tons that they already have today as of now, because they've added 20 million tons. And in the next 9 months or so, they are adding another 30 million tons. So in a gap of about a year and a half, China would be adding a capacity of like 50 million tons of electric arc furnace, which needs more than 150,000 tons of electrodes. So if you ask me frankly, I, as the management of HEG, I'm not even bothered about this report. I mean, whatever they may say, whatever they may have gone, somebody has gone and seen something in China. But as far as I'm concerned, I really don't bother about this report at all.
Okay, a couple of follow-up questions.
And I'm currently in Japan, okay, where I have met a couple of Japanese producers. I've met a couple of Japanese suppliers of coke, because you spoke about our raw material, needle coke. They don't see anything. Okay. They don't see any change at all. There is a tremendous shortage of electrodes. Similarly, there's a tremendous shortage of our raw material, which has been there for the last 12 months or so. And so as far as I see, I have not seen any change at all.
Mr. Jhunjhunwala, just one quick follow-up question on this, because I think the entire pricing issue or the price rise that happened was because it started when, China started putting in environmental norms on their, so when their EAFs started shutting down, that is where the prices of electrodes and needle coke also ballooned. So isn't that the case from where it started?
No, it didn't start because of the EAF shutting down. What happened was China has closed somewhere in the region of 120 to 150 million tons of blast furnaces and induction furnaces. And they have added electric arc furnace. So electrodes are used in the electric arc furnace. So in fact, they've closed the blast furnace and induction furnace where electrodes are not used, and they are the ones which are the polluting kind of steel production, steel capacity. So China is moving from the polluting steel producing types of companies to, let's say, the electric arc furnace, which is much less polluting, which is where the electrodes are used. So it didn't happen because of the closures of EAF. In fact, as I said, China has added 20 million tons of EAFs in the last 12 months. And as we speak, we know for sure that in 2018, they are adding another 30 million tons. So in the last 18 months or so, they would have added 50 million tons of...
How much do you export to China, sir?
Additional.
Mr. Junjunwala, can you hear me? I think
What their production is, and this is what the grade of electrodes they need. And as far as the rest of the world is concerned, China was not importing the ultra-high power electrodes. China was not exporting these electrodes anywhere else in the world. So it has very little impact on, let's say, at least the Western world of graphite producers.
Sir, do you export anything to China currently? Because you said
None
that this
at all.
is big opportunity. So is that not an opportunity? So
No,
do you
none at all.
produce?
No, you're not. No, you didn't get me. I mean, it is not an opportunity for us because we don't produce those low-grade electrodes.
Okay, just a sense on how the pricing is. Prices have moved up. Do you see them? At what level do you see them peaking, or what's the current? And you spoke about realizations being higher. Can you put a number to it, sir?
No, I'm not supposed to be doing that publicly, especially right now because we've just closed our financial year, and I'm not supposed to give the numbers. But as I said, in the last 3-4 quarters, every quarter our realizations have gone up. And as I just said, for the next 2 quarters, for which we are more or less fully booked, these realizations are further going up.
Okay. So what's the outlook on the needle coke prices? Because that's a key raw material. Do you see their prices moving in tandem or much higher than what it is?
No, needle coke prices are going up. So are the electrode prices going up. And there's a huge shortage of needle coke in any case. So that's the situation.
You see the spread. I mean, you see the spread being at the current level. You don't see the spreads narrowing down, at least in the near future.
No, we are seeing the spreads going up.
Okay.
Not remaining where they are.
Okay. And is there any level you see that prices should again start moving down, or probably you see that the peak has come in?
No, as I said, you see, for the next 6 months, which is very clearly visible, we don't see that. But beyond that, I don't know. But the structural change which has happened due to China is going to remain. And as I was explaining in another discussion with somebody, I mean, a new capacity for the ultra-high power electrodes takes anywhere between 3 to 4 years to build. And there are only 3 or 4 players in this world who produce ultra-high power electrodes. And none of them have announced any expansion as yet. None of them have announced any expansions or any new greenfield ventures. So you don't see anything happening, at least in the next 2-3 years' time. There could be a little bit of expansions here and there, but nothing much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Junjunwala, for clarifying what exactly seems to be the concern that the street has at this point of time.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so I reckon just to sum it up, he's saying that the grade of electrodes or graphite that China uses is very different from India, which means that they do not compete in the same category.
So basically, what he said that there are 2 types of graphite electrodes. First of all, is the ultra high power, which they supply, which some of the leading companies supply, and that is and China does not use it. China uses the low non-UHP. So what his clarification is the fact that even if some of their plants start producing, have got environmental nod and are starting producing graphite, it will not impact them because China does not import nor export non-UHP. So that's what his clarification is saying, and I'm quoting what HEG is saying. Whether that actually is the case on ground, I don't know, but this is what HEG has told.
So those are the management views coming in. Thanks for that, Darshan, for taking us through that conversation. But and of course, we will keep a keen eye on the developments with respect to the graphite sector. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Ask BQ. But do remember to send in your posts and tweets, and of course call with all your queries, and we will get them answered, or at least as many as we can through the course of the shows. And you can of course also log on to BloombergQuint.com and search the Ask BQ hashtag, and it will answer all your queries that were discussed on the show. Don't go anywhere. Power Lunch is up next, so keep watching Bloomberg Quint.
Sir, please believe.